So who knows what got recorded before I dropped out. I tried to go into comments and that freaked out my dropped connection. So let me just say that I was talking about trying to share what matters while I can. And for a long time, that's been capturing Pilates and what he left in uh, words, pictures, and video. Um, and that effort is embodied in my website, michaelmillerpilates.com, and has for a long time been the most complete database of the original work, um, free to everyone, the largest depository of information with pictures and videos. I wish there were more videos, but there are some um, pictures that document 98% of the work and lists that show not only the list of the exercise, but broken down into levels. I think you have to give the Pilates Center of Boulder credit for really developing the perspective of uh, dividing the exercises into levels. Now, some of that was in the Pilates method of physical and mental conditioning by Freeman and Eisen. In the back of their book, they break things up into beginning, intermediate, and advanced. Um, the Pilates Center broke that into 5 levels where you define what might be in the beginning set of exercises, and then level 2 would be what exercises you would add into level 1 to get to level 3, and then what exercises you would add into level 3 to get to that would be level 4 to get to level 5 or advanced. So I still get a consistent amount of traffic worldwide of visitors to my website, and I get to see from analytics, some of where they go and what they look at and where they're from, what country and what city. Um, so it's free to everyone, and I've tried to make some levels of access by payment, but that didn't work, and I felt badly trying to restrict it. So still to this day, after a long, long time, you can look at the Michael Miller Pilates website and access all the information there, which is a lot, um, for free. Um, and then, okay, I'm talking about spending money. I'm talking um, the community here on Skoll. And Skoll allows me to pay $10, $9, $10 a month to maintain my community, and that quickly can turn into $100 a month that I haven't done yet. Because why? Because for me, the community here on Skoll has allowed me to create a classroom that has videos in it that you can look at for free. And then there are different tiers where you can, where I should say, where you can subscribe and have access to more information than what's there for just free. And at the premium level, there's the best mat recording I've ever made. On an intermediate level, Dina says she's seen them all and mine still stands out, and it's the one that she plays when she wants to do the mat. And at an elite level, you can get not only the intermediate, but also my recording of the full mat, right? So those are there, but have not been enough of a inducement for people to subscribe at that level or levels. For a long time, I was paying like $30 a month for constant contact, and it kept evolving more and more capabilities as software platforms tend to do, and wanting to charge more and more money for the capabilities, to the point where I shut it off because I wasn't getting any real response from it. The same way with my blog on TypePad, which has since the software platform has stopped, and all the information I had there is gone because I didn't download it and save it other than that on that platform, which takes me off into the area of information that I've tried to put out there that no longer is available. TypePad, my blog is one indication. Another is the iPhone apps. I had almost all the information that's on my website available on apps on the iPhone because I had a partner that knew the technology that helped me get it up and going. But he had reason to withdraw his support, and that terminated my ability to maintain the presence of those apps. And there's only one person I know that bought the apps and had the wisdom to back them up so that they still exist on her phone. And what a loss of access to the information that's on my website right there on your iPhone. And if ever I struck any income off of my efforts, one thing that I would want to do is reestablish those apps on the platform that would sell them, right? And but that doesn't seem to be in the cards, at least for right now. So perhaps given what has come into existence and then faded into inaccessibility, I would take the information that is available here on my community platform on Skoll, and absorb what you can of the videos in the classroom. If I were you, I'd watch everything you can that's free, and that might induce you to up your membership to access some of the videos that are um, subscriber based. And in both free and subscriber based, there's an organization to a lot of the videos that are on YouTube under Michael Miller Pilates that don't have the organization to them that I've structured in the school classroom. Hmm. Hmm. While I can. Um, of all the places that technology is saying you can do this and make money every month, blah blah, school communities, you know, the one that I've resonated with the most is publishing Kindle books on Amazon because it gets the book on the shelf, it handles all the delivery, and you earn a royalty, and and it will outlast me in terms of longevity. Uh, so I'm trying to put what I can of Michael Miller Pilates not only on my website, excuse me, but on the bookshelf at Amazon, so that if and when you ever get interested in the Michael Miller Pilates view or um, understanding the biomechanics of Cornu tension, that you can find it for yourself, um, because it'll still be available. At least, at least that's my plan. We'll see how long that lasts. Um, well, I'm talking about Kindle books on Amazon. I wrote a fiction book called Pilates Workshop that was really meant to try to explain the Michael Miller Pilates view through a fictional story. And um, I enjoyed that, and it was fun getting that on the shelf. And then trying to write more fiction, I kept the same characters and wrote more of an adventure novel. Um, and that turned into a third book that ended when I didn't know what to do next. I didn't know where to take the story next. But a friend of mine liked reading the story up till then, so I resorted to using the artificial intelligence platform called Claude to say, well, I fed it all three stories that I'd written, just made them into one file, gave it to Claude, and said, where would you take this? And a back and forth happened between Claude and I that ended up in a fourth book of the sequence series. And um, it's not perfect. It's very long. It's it's AI's version of the continuation of my story, and um, it overuses the word particular too much, and it after a while it's like 756 pages long. I just gave up on resisting the delivery and absorbed the delivery. Just read it for what was in there, and read it for what was in there. And I was amazed, just gobsmacked at how well Claude represented and described the Michael Miller Pilates view of Pilates, and how well it carried the story through every character that's in the story. So one of the things I've read is that what people like when they buy something in fiction is they like series, because they like to keep reading about the same characters and different adventures. So a friend of mine bought all the Kindle versions, and in tackling the first book, Pilates Workshop, they wrote and said, well, I don't know that much about Pilates, so this is sort of a tough slog. And I can understand that. And said, well, and the thing is, the person that bought the series maybe bought it because I told them that a book by their character, a book representing their character, or a character in the book representing them, better said, was in the last book called Contrology. And how brave or audacious or whatever to name the book Contrology, but after reading Claude's story, it made perfect sense to title the book that. And I told the lady that bought the book, all four, if she wanted to just go to the last book and search for her character's name, she could read about her representation in the story. But I felt sad that if she did that, she'd miss so much of the story of all the characters that led up to her participation in the story. So, Michael Miller, Amazon, Pilates Workshop, Family Treasure, On the Lookout, and Contrology. That's my biggest fictional representation of my point of view. To me, the most significant or the most important nonfiction book I have out there is called Dancing with Gravity, The Secret of Cornu Tension. Because, in my opinion, from recognizing this relationship in the body and how that relationship provides two outstanding values to the understanding of Cornu tension. One is that it makes alignment sensational, and the other is that it produces more uniform engagement. When Joseph Pilates writes, Contrology develops the body uniformly, well, how does that happen? The biomechanics of getting to uniform development requires the uniform engagement. And Cornu tension is the way the body uniformly engages itself. To me, that's just a fact. And the best part about Cornu Tension is that you can feel it. I wouldn't be so sure of what I'm talking about if I couldn't feel it in myself, my own body, my own sensation, and especially in being able to deliver that sensation to others where they recognize it. It makes it all the more believable that the biomechanics is accurate, and that when one envisions one's engagement through oppositional rotation between axes, you can get the feeling of alignment. Even when your body's at an angle, say to gravity, when you're doing the swan on the ladder barrel and you reach out to make a straight line, well, your whole body can be lined up from metatarsals to ears, knowing how to make that connection. So let me move on to having left off of constant contact, um, developing everything and sending out emails and trying to structure workshops and all that. So much of that revolved around or was part of my effort to share what I know through traveling to do workshops and to teach. And I was very fortunate that the timing of my interest coincided with a global awakening to the existence of Pilates, and that um, everyone around the world, not everyone, but there was an interest in learning more, and that interest led to my ability to travel and teach. And I was making a pretty good living until COVID showed up and stopped all the travel. And um, that's what caused me to move into my effort at writing about my point of view and putting it into Kindle publications. And I thought that once out there, I would create an income stream that would support me. But it turns out, oh man, there's so much involved in trying to market your work that was either beyond me or me unwilling to put the effort into. So I pretty much continue to write and publish and do what I can while I can, and maintain the hope that some interest might show up while I'm still alive to help me pay my bills and to allow me to um, continue to share what I value and perhaps resurrect uh, the apps in the iPhone and other efforts of mine that are now unavailable to the public. So I figured maybe it was time to, when I was getting involved in developing my Skoll community, to reestablish my constant contact mailing list, which I had downloaded before I stopped paying. And in doing some research, it seemed that the latest and greatest platform for emails lists was called KIT, K-I-T. And like everything else, there's a participate for free, and then after the trial period, and when your list exceeds a certain number, like 1,000, okay, then it's like $40 a month and up from there, depending on how many people are on your list. And I'm very frugal these days. I spent as much time as I could in the trial period learning what state-of-the-art email platforms are like, how you can create a sequence of emails that are all automated. So once you set them up, they get delivered on a schedule that you determine, which makes sense and cuts down on the work of having to send out each email individually. I started out with like almost 2,000 emails on my original list, but when I activated it in my trial period, that winnowed down to only 1,300 that still received my emails, and that was beyond the 1,000 limit of sending for free. So in the trial period, I got almost I didn't make any money trying to sell anything. And all I was trying to do, see, in the Kindle publishing world, when you put a book on the shelf, if you can get 50 to 100 people to give a review of your book, that's what Amazon pays attention to. So I created a sequence highlighting the top 13 books that might be of interest to my viewership, requesting reviews. Just go here and click on 5 stars, whether you've read the book or not. And evidently my offer wasn't compelling enough to get any results. But when that got nowhere, it was like, okay, I learned a lot about what you can do now with an email platform, but I don't have anything to promote, it seems, to spend the money on sending the email list. So if you're considering organizing or putting an effort into developing an email list, I would recommend KIT.com because it's geared toward the kind of commerce that seems to be the mainstream of marketing these days. Constant Contact is the established premier, but it has so many other capabilities in it that you don't need that you don't need. That you don't need. So that's my 2 cents on email platforms. So what have we talked about? We talked about a lot. Hopefully some of it that might reflect on your interest or what you're doing. to promote your business. For as much as the school community idea of having RMM, no, RMR, recurring monthly revenue. That's what you want from a base of subscribers, right? When I first looked at Skoll, there was a community for women trading currencies, right? And the monthly subscription was $36. And the community had 6,000 members. Take 6,000 times $30 a month and equate that to income. And I thought I was going to start a community for artificial intelligence currency trading, but that's not where my heart and most of my knowledge is based in. And I fell back into promoting what matters to me most rather than trying to pursue money. And here I am recording to you and making this recording available to you in case you ever show up and look at the community discussion and see the availability of this recording. We'll see how long that lasts. And the possibility exists to download this recording as a file, and then the natural thing to do is to put it on YouTube. So I didn't talk about YouTube. That's a whole nother avenue of revenue. And the gold mine of having YouTube income stream. And like with Kindle book publishing, the secret is in posting information that people are interested in enough to spend their time on YouTube or their money on a Kindle book to deliver income. And so far, my passion for Pilates and for Cornu hasn't hit a nerve of demand that would fulfill these promises. To me, making a Kindle book and putting it on the shelf that will outlive you and doesn't need any more promotion to at least have it be accessible. Maybe you need to sell it, maybe you need to promote it, but it's there no matter what. YouTube seems to be the next best alternative for creating a channel or multiple channels in different niches to develop enough viewership to produce income, right? And like the Kindle bookshelf, what you put on YouTube will outlast you, and the income stream that generates will continue after you. So right now, my suggestion is just go through the process of putting a book on the Kindle bookshelf. And once you do that, it seems like a lot, but once you do that, it's easy to duplicate it. Um, Easy to duplicate it. Ah, and Synthesia is, I think, the state-of-the-art platform for um, video training materials, making training videos, because they use avatars, not real people, and um, and they're right at the crest of using AI to help you create the scripts from which the AI generates the videos. Um, and you can be part of Synthesia for free and generate 3-minute videos learning everything you can. That becomes a foundation for more if you decide to pay for more per month. But really, it's a world for big companies that have big budgets because the different levels of subscribership have limited access to tools. And what I've been looking for is a company that is looking for someone that knows a little bit about the tools that will hire me to participate in their enterprise level of participation so that I can get better at the whole suite of tools that Synthesia offers through an enterprise plan. Um, I was really gung ho on that for a while. And on Fridays, I still attend their free, their free um, Zoom broadcasts that discuss different potentials of using the platform. And it's very insightful to read the chat. It's more informative to read the comments and to take whatever's interesting in the comments or in the questions and copy them while they're available in the live session because they don't show up in the recording 2 days later. To maintain your own private information about that platform. So, man, we've talked about a lot of platforms. Um, Video training, yeah. Synthesia is cool. Um, and if I were making videotape of Pilates training, I would incorporate that video into Synthesia's delivery of training to make a very powerful training course. But the market's pretty saturated and getting more so all the time here in 2026. And I think it's more important for me to share what I can about the Michael Miller Pilates view and information about the biomechanics of Cornu tension than to make training tapes about how to do the mat or how to do the reformer or what the exercises look on the ladder barrel or how you break them down in the Cadillac. Um, so I've got 9 minutes left of this hour-long broadcast, and maybe it would be worthwhile to just summarize the Michael Miller Pilates view um, of the method and of Cornu tension. So I was hooked like everybody seems to get hooked and maybe not even know why, but I wanted to understand it and I sought to define it. I sought to go beyond Joe's definition of complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit. And so, based on what Joe wrote and based on his videos and his pictures, I ended up with my definition of Pilates as uniform eccentric loading flowing through progressive patterns of movement. And you can see that in sign language on my website and a discussion of that in a previous recording here on Skoll. And so if someone asked me if this exercise was part of the method or not, I would evaluate it based on that definition. Did it involve uniform eccentric loading flowing through progressive patterns of movement? And if it did, it seemed like you would call it Pilates. Eventually, I came to an understanding that Pilates is about the experience, that Joe had it right all along, complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit. Now, quantum physics didn't exist in Joe's time, and my explanation of Pilates is that Pilates is an experience. Your target is the experience. And that experience is a state of being in the body in the moment of the doing. So my most current definition of Pilates is complete coordination of being, thinking, and observing as a state of being in the body in the moment of the doing. And those words end in ing because it's about in the present, happening now. And that it's an experience. And that experience is what you aim for as a teacher with a student and as a performer, practitioner in the pursuit of the experience. And I was amazed at how well Claude explained that view in my book, my fictional book called Contrology. So even if you just bought Contrology and you didn't want to read the whole thing, but just searched through the Kindle version for the word Pilates and read all of the text around that, I'd recommend that if you're interested in Pilates. 5 minutes left. Rotation stabilizes movement. That's what had me from the beginning when I was talking about the core. The core is a grip at the hips. And unless you appreciate that and accept that fact of biomechanics, it's pretty hard to get to the rest of the biomechanics in the way the body interacts with itself to move through space. And that's with Cornu tension. The definition of Cornu tension is oppositional rotation between axes. The benefits of Cornu tension are that it makes alignment sensational. You can feel it. And then it's the means through which one pursues uniform engagement to get to uniform development. So that's a good final few minutes of this broadcast. If nothing else, I'd encourage you to really know the MMP point of view and incorporate it into yours. Doesn't have to be the whole view, but you definitely want to, I think, you can't afford not to understand that point of view. And so I leave you because life doesn't live forever. I encourage you to read between the lines, see behind the curtain, know how to add two and two. And as always, Geist